I would say find a good mentor. That's very important. Find a good mentor who's willing to sort of nurture you, right? If that is not happening, then join a startup. I would say which gives you the opportunity to learn, right? Because the more you learn and that will sort of really help you and be able to understand the difference between what works and what does not work, especially in learning also, right? Like I would say each company has their own way of dealing with things. Like a lot of companies, they sort of I would say copy or migrate designs and ideas from other companies, right? And they would save themselves from doing the research, doing all of this, right? It's that KFC McDonald's logic, right? So I'm not sure where I read this article where that one of these two companies saves a lot of money in doing research where to open the shop, okay, where to open their,
and the other company actually opens beside.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know which company exactly, but yes, I have also read it. Yeah. I've also read it somewhere.
So that, and if it works for them, they kind of see that it works for me. So and that works, right? That sometimes works. It's a hit and miss. So I would say that okay.
And it's also with petrol pumps, if you don't know.
Yes. Similarly for petrol pumps.
It's also with petrol pumps, because I was reading this proximity theory that like when on the highways, when you're traveling, right? So it's for a stretch of 50 kilometers. You won't find a single petrol pump, and then when you see one petrol pump, you'll find another. Bharat Petroleum would have in the Sub Petroleum beside it, right? So that's possibly it's the same thing in petrol with petrol pumps also, and there's a different logic behind it. But yeah, you're correct.
Yeah. So similarly, like I think like if it works for them, it should work for us. So I think that is what works for a few companies, right?
Yeah, that's amazing. So more about like Flipkart. How was the stint at Flipkart? Like what were you responsible for? What kind of projects did you work on?
So within Flipkart, there are multiple different teams working, right? Because so it's broken down into which project that you're working in, right? I think the largest team was Flipkart Retail, right? Primarily, they took care of everything that end user normally sees on their Flipkart application, right? Flipkart coins and all of those things. Apart from that, they had the seller side, right? So the seller central, right? This is where how sellers actually interact, upload their products, upload the pricing, right? This itself is a huge space, because if sellers are not able to do that, there are lesser amount of products, right? So this itself had, I think, there were a couple of primary teams working on this. Most of them were under Ajit. Ajit is the design director at Flipkart. So and this is one side of Flipkart, and then the other side they had many different applications, right? Like one was Flipkart Wholesale, right? This is where I was working. So again, for me, I think this was very interesting place, because again, this was starting from ground zero. So it was initially just me and another fellow designer, right? And I think we both were responsible, along with an agency, right? We were both responsible to bring an application in the marketplace, get good reviews, build the product. Wow. Right? So I think opportunities like this, when you get in a good startup, right? These are the opportunities that help you learn, right? Because for them, they have the data, right? They have there's no limitation to where you can reach. You can sort of go and speak to Kirana store owners. That is the leeway that you get, right? And you can ask them questions. You can sort of direct this to and build a case that this is what is the right approach for this particular thing. I think we should be doing this way or heading this way. And you can influence the product designers, the PMs, right, and the management to after you build your case, right? And once you have the rationale behind your decisions, and there's a high possibility that you can influence that. So I think these are the places that I enjoy the most working. So that was Flipkart there.
Amazing. Yeah. And then you transitioned to Razorpay?
No. So after that, I got an opportunity to work along with ex-Flipkart startup. And again, this is something that I took, right? And so this was me sort of wearing a PM's hat as well as a design hat, right? So So the fact that design comes first is because, or when companies say, hey, that we want to be design first companies, right? It pretty much starts before even the age is sitting on the table. The reason this is because the sales pitch, right? Right. So this taught me how an idea can go through getting funded. From getting funded, what is the next step? What is seed funding? How do you get more funding? Why do people fund without even having a proper app or a team or anybody? Why do people fund? And when I say funding, it's not this is proper funding. Like this is proper funding from bigger companies. Yes, yeah. So when you go for funding from them, you need an idea which is well established, well grounded. You have answers to a lot of things that they might ask, right? So, and that is where I think me, Shriram, Aman, we all of us brainstormed a lot behind this, and I would have all these difficult questions because I wanted to deep dive into the application before I took the plunge from Flipkart to this, right? And that is the time we would discover a lot of things when we ask questions, right? What if? Okay, why are we doing this? Or how can we do this better? How could we make the user experience better, right? So I think that is where my journey started with them. And then the next thing, the investors need to see something tangible, right? So for them to see something tangible, that meant that they had to see a prototype, and then you can't show them a bad prototype.
Yeah, because the whole idea is being represented by that design.
Correct. Yeah, like a design is worth 1,000 words, right? Right. So, or a picture is worth 1,000 words. So you had to build something that was never seen before, and which would excite the VCs to take the decision, right? And when I say excite, not influence them, excite them
on that. Yeah. Nobody can influence VCs.
So yeah, I think that is what so it was a fast pace, building multiple screens, different things, putting everything together, going for a sales pitch, putting everything together in front of VCs. Although I didn't get to present, I took a backseat on that. But just being there, right, being present there has a lot of influence as how you think as a designer, right? And again, then you're wearing a PM's hat as well. You go back, okay, what did not work? You write those things down, right? You come out with variations in your PRD, right? You start maintaining a PRD and a design document as well, right? What are the design decisions, right? So what happens is, you as a designer mature, right? Like there are two ways of maturing. Either you learn from somebody else, right? Or you are put into the pool, you push in the pool, and you start swimming, right? I think this way for me, the push sometimes helps better for me, right? And so this was that push, right? And I learned a lot from there, right? And next thing was like after they got funded, the app started getting built. Like we were way ahead of the design engineers, right? We have thought of phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. So we have thought of all of that, built designs end to end, and kept those ready, right? Because our funding was to cover all of this, not just when a VC is funding, they want to see the long term vision.
They want to see the 10-year goal. In fact, it never stops with one.
Exactly,
it is always a 10-year vision, and then you also give insight. Okay, I need money for 2 years. That's how. Probably.
Yeah, that's how it works. And that's why we were way ahead of them. So literally, I was on a payroll for nothing, right? And that is what felt not right. Maybe I should now look for another thing. And Razorpay, Chetty, Arun is the director there. We became friends and got an opportunity there, right? And it was a very good opportunity. It was with the Razorpay payment checkout, right? The checkout is one of the things that you cannot miss. The reason is because that is Razorpay's cash cow, right? And that is something which is known to everybody, right? Not that the other products are not good. The other products are also doing really well. But this is where it all started.